Welcome to the Forager podcast, where I talk with cottage food entrepreneurs about their strategies for running a food business from home. I'm David Crable, and today I am talking with Kathleen and Drew Meyer. But before we begin, I'd like to tell you about the Simply Bread oven. As you hear today, Kathleen and Drew invested in a Simply Bread oven only 2 months after launching their cottage food business, and they said it was life-changing. And now, less than a year later, they've relied on it so much that they've already considered buying a second one. But the Simply Bread oven isn't just reliable, it's also practical and futuristic. It combines traditional baking techniques with cutting-edge technology. You can use it to bake breads, desserts, and more, and you can bake up to 15 loaves in just 40 minutes. You can connect it to Wi-Fi, control each of its 3 baking decks separately from each other, plus many more features designed to help you get the perfect bake every single time. Simply Bread also has a growing line of high-end baking accessories because their mission is to make the world's highest quality baking products accessible to everyone. So if you're looking to upgrade your baking game from beginner to professional, they simply have the right products for you. I encourage you to check them out, and I think you'll be impressed too. To learn more, go to forager.com/simplybread. All right, so I have Kathleen and Drew on the show today. They live in Boerne, Texas, and sell sourdough bread and other baked goods with their cottage food business, Family Kneads. As you'll see, they have an amazing story. They had the idea for this business only a year ago, and in less than 3 weeks, they launched their business and started making sales. They did almost $3,000 worth of sales in their first month alone, and within the past year, they've now done over $55,000 of sales, and they reached profitability in their business within 6 months. Now, these numbers are certainly not typical for a new cottage food business, but as you'll see, their success wasn't random luck either. It's a fascinating story, so let's jump right in and learn how they did it. Welcome to the show, Kat and Drew. Nice to have you here.
Nice to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
So can you take us back to how this all got started? I know it's only been like a year since you started the business.
Yeah, it's we'll have a year in April. And so let's rewind to August 2024. Drew worked for a tech company for like 20 years, and then everyone got laid off. So he kind of just took that time to relax. And then fast forward to a few months later, December, I had been working for a luxury, like tiny home resort place in Fredericksburg. I was the regional event coordinator. I was the only coordinator there. And it was just really, I just had kind of had enough. It was kind of fun at times, but they threw so much at me.
Yeah. You ended up managing like 7 resorts across multiple states.
Yeah. And I just couldn't do it anymore. And he encouraged me like just to quit. And I'm like, but you don't have a job. Like I'm right now, I'm the only one that's bringing in some money. And he said, just don't worry about it. We're going to figure it out. So I quit in December, and then I took some time. So together we just kind of enjoyed life for a little bit. And then I guess it was like March. He said, it's time I think we need to like start like considering doing something, and we should do something together this time. And I'm like, Drew, I don't know what you want me to do. I'm like, I'm not going to do paralegal stuff, because in another life, I did that for a long time. I'm like, I'm not doing paralegal stuff. I'm not touching any kind of event coordination stuff. I'm like, then what I had been doing the last few months since I had quit, I was just baking, because I've always baked and cooked, and I've always loved it. And I was just playing with my sourdough. And he's like, let's start a bakery. And I'm like, who's going to buy my stuff? Like, that was a legitimate like concern. I'm like, who's going to buy my stuff? And all my life, they've always told me like, you should sell your stuff. But I'm like, that's just people being nice. All right. People are just being really nice. So he's like, no, like seriously, let's start this bakery. And so we had spent some time like thinking about some names, and we came up with Family Kneads. And
thanks in part to AI,
yes,
which can help you speed up your ability to begin your business dramatically. But yeah, we just like sat there in the bed, and we were just talking to AI, and we were just like, we're all of this stuff about us, and this is what we want to do. And so it didn't come up with the name, but it led us to the name.
Yeah.
So
And then it was just, I remember we were sitting in bed and Family Kneads was like the idea we had, and we were able to get the tags for it. It just felt like everything lined up perfectly.
The domain, the social handles, like everything. There was almost no competition. Like when you searched it on Google, it was like it was completely untouched.
Right. And so then we're like, well, okay, because we had a neighborhood garage sale that was going to come up in like 3 weeks. So we're like, all right, let's set the goal. Like we're going to do our first bake that what was it? I think it was April 5th.
Yeah,
April
5th.
And see, normally I'm like a perfectionist, so I would have probably just like kicked that thing down. I never would have started. But we're like, no, like we're gonna do it this date. And so with that in mind, we like rushed to get the packaging. We got the table. We got
bought stickers.
We got like just in record time. We were up and running. We actually got pre-orders. Like we had pre-orders for that bake, and then we had a number of people that just were coming to the like as part of the garage sale type thing. So yeah, like that's how it started. And here we are now. And it's incredible. Like I'm still like, I feel like it's like a dream, because I still think back to telling them who's going to buy my stuff. And here we are. We have 3 wholesale partnerships. We have made, at this point, what's the gross sales?
I mean, it's over 55K in sales in about 11 months. 650 direct customers that we've served, plus done a number of events.
We've only done 4, like, so two events, yeah, 2 events as Family Kneads,
and 2 garage sales.
Yeah, and 2 garage sales. Everything else has been pre-orders, which I think is incredible, because you hear a lot of cottage bakers say that you have to do markets, or markets, and we did do like one. So our farmers market they were not taking any more bakers. Which at the time felt like, how are we going to grow then? Like you're supposed to do markets. So we were able to go to that market, but through the kids, like, cause they do once a month, they do this thing where the kids can have a booth. And so we didn't bring like things made by us. We actually had the kids bring their products, and we got to see like what a market was kind of like. And after that experience, I was like, I don't want to do markets. Like I'm like, I don't care how long it takes us to grow, but I don't want to do markets. I don't like having to load up the car, bring product and not sell possibly product. I don't like waste. So the markets that we have done is because it's more just for the connection. We just bring very, very little product. But like I said, we've only done now like 4, and everything's pre-order. And we have the 3 wholesales, and 1 just reached out last night. So we have a potential 4th in the pipeline, and it's like we haven't even hit a year yet. So it's just, it feels wild. Yeah.
I see the emotion there. You said you're a perfectionist. You probably would have delayed starting. Was it the financial pressure that caused you to start so quickly, or was it something else? Because I know you were both out of jobs for like at least 3, 4, 5 months at that point, right?
Yeah, it was going between like 6 and 8 months. I would say definitely some of the financial pressure. I just look at things in terms of runway, and I'm like, once I get below a year of runway, I start feeling the pressure to kind of increase my runway. And so, yeah, I was kind of like, hey, it's time to start thinking about what our next steps are. And I would love to work to chase our own dream rather than someone else's dream, which is what we've essentially done our whole lives. So chasing our own dreams was always a dream. And so, I saw this as sort of the pathway to that.
Yeah, we needed to do it financially, but I also kind of viewed it as like, well, even if this like kind of fails, at least we're going to show our kids, we're going to show them a couple things. Like our oldest, at the time, I don't know how she feels these days, but she's 15, and she said she possibly wanted to be a chef. And so I just kind of thought this as an opportunity to show them what it's like to kind of work in that industry. I knew that it would be a lot of work, a lot of late nights, early mornings. And so I wanted her to see all that. And I thought, well, they'll learn sourdough. Like, so this is going to be this is how it's just going to be all like educational in many different ways. So that's why I jumped on board with it. And I kind of thought, well, maybe it's not going to be the thing we do, but
Yeah.
We got to start something.
Yeah. And I do remember before we started, I got a little like teary eyed talking to her, and I was just like, you know what? Like, I love all of these, like all this time that we've spent together over these last few months, and like doing life together and not being stuck behind a desk with like a typical 9 to 5. And I'm like, I would really like to like continue doing life together and not get dragged back to a job, especially knowing that so many businesses were doing like the return to office stuff. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find something that's as flexible as my last job where I was here in the home. So I was like, let's do something that we can do together so we can stay together.
Talking about doing life together, you have quite a history together, right?
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah. Yeah. We met in 8th grade. We were teacher's assistants for a PE class, and we kind of just got to know each other. We're just kind of friends. We kind of kept talking over the summer, come high school.
AOL Instant Messenger was the technology at the time that really connected us.
We must have been similar ages, because that's what I was using in high school to talk to my friends. AIM. I remember it well.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that we just talked all summer. September, we kind of girlfriend, boyfriend, and
September of 2001.
Mhm.
It was our first year of high school. And I asked her to be my girl. I hacked into her computer.
Yes. Okay.
I installed like a Trojan virus on her computer, and I had a little command and control center. And I overtook her computer with the whole matrix writing that drops down the screen. And I put a little pop up in the middle, and it said, "Will you be my girlfriend?" And it said yes, no, and maybe. And then on my side, I got a thing that said user replied yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes. So yeah, more than half of our life has been spent together. We did high school, and then we moved in with each other after high school, and got married a number of years later, had kids a number of years later, and five kids later, and out of state move, and now building some businesses together.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the kids. I know you homeschool them, right?
Yes.
That normally could be a full-time job in and of itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We have 5 kids. We have a 15-year-old, a 12-year-old, 11, 7, and 5. 4 girls, 1 boy. The boy's the 7-year-old. So homeschooling, it's a wonderful thing. Just it's allowed us to kind of tap into, like, really be able to understand their learning style, figure out what works for them, and also just follow those passions that they have. I think they're all very, very creative in their own like different ways. And so it's been really cool with the homeschooling to be able to like fuel those passions and just see the incredible things that they're able to build.
Well, the growth of your business is obviously amazing, but growing as quickly as you have in the last year, I mean, how has that affected your family, your kids, family
Yeah.
life?
It's definitely shifted things, like we have to be very intentional with our days. Like there are certain days that are like, the dough days, and like the actual like baking days and stuff. And so we have to be very intentional about structuring
Yes.
like lesson time, and making sure that we have them enrolled in proper classes at the co-op, so we can make sure that any areas where we have to pull back, we have to ramp up somewhere else. And so like we just make sure that they're enrolled in the courses where maybe we can't do it as well. So it's about tweaking the knobs and making sure that everything stays in balance.
Yeah. And I think with sourdough, what's beautiful about sourdough is that like I could wake up early, I could start the mixing of it. And then whether I'm just teaching between like stretch and fulls or just during that whole like bulk fermentation part, and then the older ones will help teach the younger ones too. So like sometimes I'll be like, Lindsay or Natalie, like I need you to sit with Thomas and have him read you this book, and can go over his sight words. And so it's just a whole big like family learning experience, teaching. It's cool to do life together.
It all worked out, but I could tell there's some kind of risk or fear when you started this thing? Why did you choose to go in the sourdough direction?
There are plenty of sourdough bakers around us, as there are in almost every area. And, honestly, they make a great products that they pour their heart and soul into, and people like to buy from them. We just couldn't find anything that was what we were used to and what we grew up with, and wanted to bring some of that to our community.
Yes. Yeah. And so that's what we did. We found a sourdough that my sourdough is what I'm used to from San Diego. And we started finding that a lot of our customers are actually like kind of from like
Yeah.
California, and they were just very like happy to have found bread that they were used to. So it's just kind of cool to kind of like connect with other people that were like searching for the same thing that I was. Because when my youngest was like really little, when he like first moved here, I wasn't making my own sourdough. I mean, I knew how to make it, but I wasn't really taking the time to do it because it's a lot of work. And so I was just buying sourdough from like a local food buying club, and it tastes good. It's just it wasn't the sourdough that I was used to. And so when she was a little older and little like more independent, I'm like, all right, let's start like making our sourdough and all the flavors, all the classic and the jalapeno cheddar and just all the things that we like.
But despite going in the sourdough direction, we have an extremely extensive menu. I think we offer something like over 80 products on rotation, all of which she executes exceedingly well. But we have found really high demand for scones and high quality cookies within our area. We don't go the sort of like crumble cookie route and topping things with Oreos and whatever. We just do like classic cookies. We do sourdough chocolate chip. We do snickerdoodles. We do chocolate walnut cookies. Just like the classics that people are used to, just at a bakery quality level. Large 4-ounce, big giant cookies that make your heart happy when you bite into them.
Yeah, so I guess it kind of goes like so. Yeah, so you asked me about like why go the sourdough route, and so I did start doing that, and kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier. So because of the whole like financial like situation that we were in, I was like, we're growing this sourdough thing, but like I got to do more. And I remember he kind of he didn't like that. You're like, I'm like, no, I like I need to grow faster. Like I gotta do more. So that's when I started introducing other things that weren't, because I make a lot of sourdough products, but not everything that I make is sourdough. So like the scones are not sourdough. I you can put some discarded, but I don't think it's really necessary. So I do scones, I do the cookies, cakes. I just started like, I'm gonna find what works. And so some things, I mean, in the beginning, I don't do anymore. I was like, I did a lot of trial and error. And then I think one of the best things I started doing was doing like the little sampler boxes. And then once I started in the sampler boxes, I was able to really kind of figure out like, because it would include like a cinnamon roll and a scone and
Yeah, it was like yeah, she had come up with this idea, but like we did we called it like a morning sampler, and it was just like a square box, and it would have 4 items that we would rotate out each week. So we were able to introduce like double chocolate biscotti and different scone varieties and a bagel and all these different things. And so people would like to try this morning box, and people would buy it every single time we would do a bake, and they'd give us their feedback on what they liked in there, and then we would introduce those as like full menu items. And yeah, that like
I think that helped really, because a lot of like we got a lot of people that would be new that would try that because they're like, oh, you have such a like this menu, and I didn't know what to choose, and so I love this little box. And so I think that really kind of helped like push like get us growing.
Yeah, and
quick.
we also made it affordable.
Yes.
We when we priced it out, we made it one of our lower margin products just to make it highly affordable for people to try, and sort of get hooked on our stuff.
So what I'm hearing is that you started with this idea of sourdough kind of from this like lack of having the kind of sourdough that you liked in California, but also that you didn't care really that much about what you sold. You just were focused on whatever worked, right? Like you're willing to
Right. Yeah,
shift
yeah,
depending
I
on what the
will.
demand was?
Yeah, because I guess I just I love to bake. I love to cook. I mean, if I like I'm not allowed to do certain things like under Texas like cottage laws. I can't like work with meat products. So if I it's like if I would probably do it, I probably would have done more of the cooking route had I been able to do that. But like under Texas law, you could do like vegetarian stuff.
Now,
Yeah,
as of
now.
September.
Yeah. But in the beginning it was pretty limiting. So it was just baked goods. I'm like, and I love baking. So I didn't really feel like I had to just be sourdough. Like we're like, I know some people just do the one, but like just, I just want to, I just want to bake. And I think there's just like such beauty in all of it. It's like, there's like this science behind like being able to like throw all these ingredients together and then like just make it this delicious.
Yeah, I also think that one of the kind of cool things is it sort of has this interesting, I don't know the right word. I want to say like network effect, but it like the more you produce and the more you produce well, people are going to recommend you word of mouth more often because someone will go like, they'll like, let's just say you have 80 products across 12 categories of, you have scones, cakes, cookies, bread, different types of pastries, all this stuff. And then as people go out into their lives and they're at their jobs or they're in social gatherings, and it's like someone mentions something, they go, "Oh, Kathleen over at Family Needs, or Kat does that really well." And then people come to us and they're like, "Oh, so and so, gave me a bag of your bagels and they were fantastic." And then someone's like, "Oh, so and so brought scones to our ladies' night," and then so and so is like, "Oh, I got a dozen cookies and handed them out at the office and everyone loved them." So it's like, if we just did sourdough, then it's like, okay, well, people are only going to talk about it when sourdough comes up, and how often does sourdough come up in conversation outside of our circle? So yeah.
So it's interesting. You not only were willing to flex your menu based on demand, but also you even flexed the entire concept of your business just based on what the cottage food law allowed, right? Because you said you probably would have preferred to do, maybe more prepared meal items, right? Hot items or whatever.
Yeah.
So did you ever talk about like going the commercial route to do what you like were more passionate about? Or was it like, oh, we got to stay at home from the beginning?
That puzzle piece just
Yeah.
doesn't fit with our homeschooling life.
With the traveling that we do. There's
Yeah.
just a lot of things that like maybe someday, like, and that's a big maybe, like maybe someday. But I'm not really interested in having like a storefront doing like a commercial kitchen or just because it's just it doesn't fit.
Yeah, and it definitely feels like it was sort of like a meant to be kind of thing, that right when we started, the whole SB 541 was championed and signed into law, and made it, because like we were definitely thinking a lot more about the commercial angle in the beginning, because we were like, we're going to be hitting this 50K cap really quick, which we already have exceeded, and we're at the 11-month mark. So we were very blessed and felt like it was like this God wink telling us, "Hey, you know what? Here, you guys, I'm opening the door for you to expand more on this cottage front." And it's been an incredible blessing. It is tough, to scale like this within a home environment. Being able to have the kind of ovens that you need, and just all that stuff. Like we were very blessed. We were gifted an oven from my parents, and so we just set it up on some blocks, and we have an extension cord running across the kitchen to have that one plugged in. So we have extra ovens, but it's hard, and we would definitely love to have a better space. Maybe even something built in our backyard. Our backyard's small. Like we live on a very small property, so we don't have a lot of yard space to be able to make like an additional structure. But yeah, I mean, it's the thought has always crossed our mind, but it's just not something that is it just doesn't fit in a lot of different aspects of our life.
Mhm.
Looking at some pictures of your kitchen space, it kind of looks like a commercial kitchen to me. Like it's Pretty hard to tell that it's a residential facility.
So that's our dining room that you see in the pictures. Like we have this. It's kind of like this little nook, and we kind of pull the table out, and we put a stainless steel table there, and we have a Simply Bread oven because yeah, like a month into doing business, we're like we need to get a bread oven. So and now honestly we're at a point where like we need another one.
Yeah, it'd be helpful to have 4 of those, honestly.
So let's step back to when you started the business, because, I know you had this idea like in March of 2025, and then like 2.5 weeks later, you started selling. So what was that 2 weeks like? Like, what did you do within that time to get ready to sell?
She did a lot of recipe development. I ate a lot of happy calories. She's like, you got to try these cookies. And I'm like, you don't have to ask me twice. I love cookies.
Yes.
So
we're very lucky. We have a lot of like great people around us, and they're super, super supportive. So I would come to them and be like, can you try this? Let me know, give me your feedback. Like, you're not gonna hurt my feelings. If you don't like it, just please, like, don't let me put something out there that everyone's gonna hate. So yeah, it was just a lot of testing, a lot of taking pictures, and then just grabbing like the packaging. We were looking at getting boxes and the bags.
yeah,
I would say so. I will say we're really big on packaging. Like we get the comment a lot that we have very beautiful packaging. So I think it's just kind of really putting the thought into that, the presentation of how we were going to present these items.
we did some print.
Yes.
I got like a rat card printed that had our story and our family's photo on it and a QR code on the back. We're like really big on print, like high quality print. It is somewhat of an investment, but I think that it goes a long way in leveling up your professionalism and the way that you sort of present your story and your brand and all that. So, but yeah, on my side of things, I built the website. I got us started with Hot Plate. That kind of was like the first platform that popped into our realm. And it was very easy to get started on there. We made a lot of investments, I guess. We bought a lot of cast iron Dutch ovens. We bought a lot of Bantam baskets. We bought a lot of, I want to say we spent about $5,000 in that 2.5 weeks on everything that we needed to get started.
Which kind of hurt, when you're not really making money yet. It kind of hurt, kind of scary. Like what are you gonna do if like this it flops?
Yeah. I just kept saying like the old adage, right? You got to spend money to make money. And so I was like, rather than struggling every single day to like get done the stuff you need to get done, let's have the proper equipment. Let's have what you need. Like let's get the buckets and buy the baskets and not use kitchen towels, but get actual like proper stuff, and just just at every aspect we treated it like a business and not a side hustle,
because we had to,
because we wanted it to be a business. We did not want it to be a side hustle.
Yeah. And he just kept telling me, like, because I'm kind of like cautious with the money, so I'm like, he kept assuring me like because he does a lot of investing, so he was trying to say, well, this is like for the first time I'm like investing in I'm investing in a business that we're building.
Yeah.
So
I was like, you have seen me throw $10,000 at a company of people that I don't know, because I believe in the concept of what they're building. And this is the first time in my life I'm able to invest in you. And she's like, well, but this is going to be both of us. And I'm like, yeah, but ultimately the soul of this business is her. I'm there to support it in the best way that I can, but ultimately, like, she is the face of it. She is the person that interacts with the customer. She pours her heart and soul into every recipe that gets developed, and it's that people are paying for, So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that is pretty interesting that you spent like $5,000 before you'd even made a single sale. And like that's pretty risky, right? Because like what if people are like, not we don't like the sourdough, but we love the cinnamon rolls or we love the cookies, right? And then you end up spending all this money on, Dutch ovens and baskets and everything that you don't end up needing. So was there some kind of research that predicated that to make you feel like, oh, we can justify this investment?
No, I think a lot of it comes down to like intuition, and just the sort of feedback that we've gotten over the years. Like so many people that try her stuff, because she's had this passion for cooking
And I will,
and creating.
yeah, we like host a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, we'd have people over and just people are always like, wow, like you're so great at flavor development and presentation and this, that, and other thing. And just it was sort of like, hey, you know what? I feel like I have pretty decent taste. And so I'm like, I try her stuff and I'm like, it's fantastic. And she's like, well, you're just saying that because you're married to me. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm like, this is fantastic. And, it's just kind of one of those things where you kind of have to go off intuition a little bit. Um, you know, or you can give your stuff to people for free and hope that they're giving you genuine feedback, to source that feedback, but you kind of have to trust your own gut sometimes.
So it was a lot of money. I mean, that like $5,000, that's a lot of money. It's like all the stuff that we got though. I mean, because like the print, yeah, was expensive. That was like, I would say print. Well, usually anytime we get print, it'd be like $200-300.
Yeah, and we spent almost $1,000 on Facebook ads. That was about a fifth of it.
But I don't feel like anything that we bought was like not really practical. Like the Dutch ovens, well, at the time, like I went and lodged Dutch ovens. They were kind of more on the affordable side, and I kind of thought, well, worst case scenario, like you can probably sell them. Like people buy that kind of stuff. So a lot of things, like I know, like I'll take a loss on it, but I can resell them if I really have to. I won't really be able to sell like packaging. But we were always very conservative, like with how much like packaging we bought, like that, at least in the very beginning. Now we're buying like a ton of packaging at a time.
Yeah.
So you spent $1,000 on Facebook ads within the first month. So what did you learn from that?
We learned the sort of demographic set of our audience. We were able to then take that information, seeing what people our ads resonated with, and then say, okay, so we would take a screenshot of the data and we would say, okay, so based on this sort of cohort group of people that are engaging with our content, what sort of products may appeal to these folks. And so we would introduce new products based on sort of generalizations about time periods within people's lives and what things certain people enjoyed during their upbringing. We found that when we would introduce these products that we would research, there was a ton of engagement and people were like, wow, like this is incredible. Like I can't find, I've never been able to find this anywhere around here, especially like in the way that you're doing it. So the ads really helped us figure out who our customer base was, and who was not our customer base. And it flew in the face of all of the advice and stuff that we had read on the different Facebook groups about, you got to do this and you got to post all the time on social media and you got to join your local moms groups and you got to do this and you got to do that. And it was like, that wasn't what the empirical data showed at all. And so we leaned into what the actual objective proof was from that spend, and it's paid for itself, many times over.
Yes. Like look real quick, like on that. So with the ads, we found like our original customers, like that's how because we first kind of announced in our neighborhood that we were starting this micro bakery, and we have great neighbors. A lot of them are like super supportive, and those are some of our like first pre-orders. Outside of that, then I started posting in some of the local Facebook groups because that's what a lot of cottage bakers tell you to do. like Facebook, but you got to post on socials. You got to do this and you got to do that. Yeah, it felt again, very defeating, because I would post and I wouldn't really get any bites like at all. Like in some areas, I think it will work for like cottage bakers. They can post in those local mom groups or whatever groups, and they're going to find their customers. But that wasn't the case for me. So I wanted to say that so other people understand that don't get like defeated, like just try other outlets. And so what I end up finding is a lot of our customers come from next door. The other thing that I think helped launch us is that we started offering delivery. So we did delivery. We would say if you had a $35 order or more, you get free delivery within 8 miles. And in the beginning, that was kind of hard because we're in Texas. And so everything's
8 miles is 45 minutes sometimes, like because there's all these little back roads and all the, but yeah, delivery was a huge win. She was like, I don't know, like this sounds crazy. And I'm like, just kind of trust me here. Like, let's just roll with it for a bit. And so we did the delivery stuff, so we would do the porch pickups and then we would have our delivery orders and we'd go out and do those. Sometimes we'd be out driving around for an hour to 2 hours, doing deliveries. We'd get 6 to 10 delivery orders per week, sometimes more.
Especially on the holidays.
Yeah. And then we started upping our minimum, we went from 35 to 50 and then 50 to 75. And then for holidays, it was like over 100 and people kept showing up and choosing delivery. And then we had to kind of pull back on that because we started getting too big.
Yeah.
Under the law, we can't hire anyone. Our oldest daughter is not old enough yet to drive these around for us, but maybe once she gets her license, we can employ her to be our delivery driver. But
yeah.
Well, I know that when you started the business and grew the business, that you used AI a lot. You already talked about how you used it to help come up with the business name. Where else have you used AI to kind of speed up the launch and the growth of your business?
I've used it a lot for scaling. I have like my recipes like all kind of fed into I use Claude AI, and
yeah, AI is a great tool to get you 90% of the way there, but you still need to carry that 10% of human intuition and intellect.
Yeah.
You can't just trust it blindly. Otherwise you're going to end up with a lot of wasted product.
Yeah. And so I'll use it for helping me create product descriptions.
Labels.
Yes, they have the labels, like not like actually I use Canva for my labels, but like
for content.
Yeah. For what I put on there, that can help me that with the ingredient stuff, the pricing. I've used it for because with Claude they have these projects, and there I have these like within the projects folder I have like all my ingredients and how much they cost me.
So then we can literally just take any recipe, handwritten or PDF or website or whatever, and then just paste in the ingredient list, and then just say our packaging for this is going to be 45 cents plus a 5-cent sticker, and help me come up with retail pricing. Give me 3 different prices at different margins, and it'll spit out some math for us, without us having to calculate it by hand. You got to know what the market will bear too. So, it's helpful to look at what other people are doing, but you got to be careful not to fall into the trap of setting your prices based on others' pricing. We have people in the area that offer sourdough bread for both in both extremes, like super cheap to the point where like we're wondering like there's no way you're valuing your time into this. Like you're looking at raw ingredients and you're not looking at this as like as a business or something. And so if you were just starting and then you come across that person's pricing and you go, oh, they're charging $7 for a loaf of bread, maybe I should charge $6 because I'm new here. And it's like, no, like you can't do it that way. Like you need to use real.
Yes, you need to value your time, and then because here's the thing, you could always come down in price too. You could always come down but
it's harder to go up.
Yes, you go up, like you're potentially gonna lose customers that they were like, well, your cookies were $2 for these 4-ounce cookies, and now suddenly you're charging $4. That's a crazy increase. So like I just And I remember, so I would have fallen victim to that, because I remember when we first started, some of the things I wanted to like price lower, and you're like, no, like, no. And then he made that point, that Drew made that point, that like it's easier to come down. Like you can't like go and raise it later. That's just going to upset some people.
So we covered like using AI for that kind of stuff. And then also when we first started out, I built the website using AI. So, I just wrote kind of a basic prompt about what I was looking for, and, told it that I wanted to build this website. And, I came up with a very nice website, kind of made a couple of tweaks to it here and there, but I would say for the most part, I think I got the website done in a day. And, obviously I have the technical know-how to execute something like that. A lot of people will go in there and they'll have it design something, but they don't know how to take it into production environment to actually be hosted to people and actually be functional and all that kind of stuff. And then, I used it to add the blog component to our website and all that kind of stuff. And yeah.
Would you recommend that like the average cottage food entrepreneur use AI to build their website? Like
No.
obviously you're a technical guy, so
Yeah, no, I would say, so I have met a number of folks that are in this industry that come from similar backgrounds as me, but they're few and far between. So I would say if you have somewhat of a relatively deep, like you would consider yourself maybe intermediate technically, then you could totally do it. However, I will caveat that by saying that having a website that's just like a pretty thing and having something functional are two totally different things. So building an ordering platform, for example, into your website is a much deeper lift than just building like a basic template that, like building like a landing page with your photos and a contact form. I would say everyone should just take a shot at it, try it, like go in, get yourself a free plan or a $20 a month AI subscription and try to build yourself a website. It's a fun learning experience, but you have to value your time and it's definitely an investment of time and energy. And it could be a lot of headache too, because maybe you make something and then 6 months down the line, it breaks, there's a bug, or, you go to your website and it's like a database connection error and you're like, what? I don't even know where to begin. How do I start troubleshooting that? And so it's like, you have to commit a lot of energy if you're going to go that route.
Well, this is leading us to talking about Cottage CMS, right? Like, can you talk about what you built there?
When we committed to starting this business, like I said, she's the heart and soul of Family Kneads, and I'm there to support her in all the ways that I can. I man the ovens, I do all the stuff, and I help facilitate that business as sort of an unpaid laborer, right? But I come from a rich technical background, and I spent a lot of years in software development, and I was just like, I feel like I need to build something for this space because everything that was out there felt either antiquated or engineered for a different class of user, or I don't know, like we started feeling like we were so quickly outgrowing Hot Plate, for example. It's also hard to build your brand. You can't tell your story very well with a Hot Plate. Yeah. Your Hot Plate is a good storefront for impulse buying behavior, but it doesn't allow you to, there's no pages to tell your story about your business and tell your story about your family. And so much of cottage foods is your customer connecting with you on a deep personal level. And so I was like, I would like to take all of the things that are great about Hot Plate and all the things that are great about some of these other platforms and just build something better. And so this was August of 2025 when I first started kind of doing it. And came back, and then by October, I had a full order system built in, connected to Square. And then just, it's been a ton of feature development. I have a great community of users, members. I did this kind of creative bootstrapping phase in the beginning where I introduced like a lifetime plan, and I introduced the Founders Club. And so I got 72 cottage bakers to sort of join me in the belief of what I was building, and they became sort of my core membership group, and they're like the cohort that I go to first, when I have ideas, or when I need my initial feedback. And so those people are fantastic. They so believe in the mission of what I'm building that, like on the cottage food groups, they're always recommending Cottage CMS, and they'll answer questions and share their websites and do all kinds of stuff. And so fast forward to today, Cottage CMS hosts, I think I just broke 720 websites. About 170 of those are pro plan users. And yeah, it's amazing, like what you can build. Like I would not have been able to do this pre-AI. AI has played an amazing role. Like I know how to write software, but like to do it in the condensed amount of time, as a solo founder and someone who doesn't have a team of engineers, or support people. Yeah, it's pretty remarkable.
Also, we've talked about this, Drew, but kind of fortuitous that like right around the same time, Cast Iron shut down, right? And then there's My Custom Bakes removed their free tier from their platform, right? So two of the big platforms that people had been using were then like having to find an alternative.
Yeah, it was just a stars align kind of thing. Like, I didn't even know about MCV removing their free tier until like 3 or 4 months after I built my platform. And I wanted to offer from the start, I wanted to offer something free, because we came from the hot plate world. Hot plate is free-ish, right? Like they get you in the door because ultimately our customers are the product to them, right? And so,
But you can switch it, but then you're paying the fee, but you're already like, yeah, either way, they're making a ton of money, which is why you built it. Cause
yep.
we started doing the math on how much money.
Yeah. I mean, in one sale, where we did $1,000 in transactions, we saved our customers $70. So, across all of those orders, the amount of money that they would have paid to Hot Plate would have been $70. So yeah, if you're doing $4,000 in sales a month, Hot Plate is earning about $240 to $280 in fees from your customers. And these customers are supporting you because they want to support local. They don't want to support some YC company in San Francisco that gets VC funding because those VCs see dollar signs in the volume that they're pulling through their system. And more power to them. Like we used it, we loved it, but it costs too much money, and I can't in good conscience continue down that path of having my customers fork out hundreds of dollars a month for a platform that is pretty limiting, to be honest. So
yeah. Just to clarify, you're talking about your customers forking over this money, because that's the Hot Plate model, right? Which is they say it's free to you as the business owner, but then, we also tack on a fee to the customer that they only see, right? So it's like, it's a model that's worked, like it has worked at getting a lot of business owners to sign up. But like at the end of the day, whether their customers paying it or you're paying it, like it's still like means your pricing has to be lower to accommodate that fee.
Yeah, either lower, or you can drag the slider bar, eat the fees, and then raise your prices. But either way, someone's paying it.
Yes, and whoever is paying it, it just seems, if you're looking at it as like a monthly cost, like whether that's like to your customers, or you're taking on that cost. That's when it depends on your volume, but you're potentially, like in our situation, it could have easily been hundreds of dollars. So I that's why I was like, as we're growing, I'm like, you need to build something. I need to get off of this. This is insane how much money. And the fact that I can't actually, like, I like to send emails. And so with that system, I can only send an email when I have an event, and I can only do one email, and it's like so poorly formatted. So
you can't do line breaks. You can't do, like, it's literally just a little text, a blob of text.
It's like hard to read.
You can't format it. There's no headings. There's no, their email system is very limited, and I get it because they're largely focused on the text message angle. Text messages. I'll say to those that are listening that love text messages, there are no text messages in the system at the moment. We have email notifications and also push notifications. Texting is something that I would love to introduce. However, it is extremely cost prohibitive. Like, I've done the math on the amount of texts that we would send through Hotplate, and it'll often be $20 to $40 a month in texting fees for the amount of text volume that we would send. So offering a free plan or a $20 a month solution is not going to cover, there's a reason why Hotplate's able to do it. It's because they're earning hundreds of dollars from your customers from the volume that you're putting through the system. So they do have a very brilliant model. It feels very amazing to the business owner, but when you really sit down and think about what's happening there and the costs, it's pretty enlightening.
Yeah.
So the $1 million question is, does Family Kneads use Cottage CMS?
Yeah,
we do.
Yeah,
we do.
Yeah, we do. We do. What's really cool is that now, just like I wanted, people have realized they can order the scones and they can order the things that, like, even though I don't have my scheduled bake, they've ordered the scones. Like, I think on Monday I have like 3 or 4 orders of scones that are they're outside my bakes because people.
Yeah. I'll sort of highlight that aspect of it. So something that I disliked very early on about the Hotplate model, which Simply Bread app has fixed this in a recent release that they did. The ability to showcase your full menu despite not having an active bake. So Hotplate, you have to have an active bake in order for people to see what you offer. From the start, I was like, okay, well, I want to build the system where people can see our full menu for a couple reasons. One, SEO. Search engine optimization is very important to this whole model. And it's something that you don't get with a Hotplate type system. Hotplate essentially takes all of the credit for, things get indexed under hotplate.com. People can find your storefront as long as you put the correct words in there. But it's not optimized for, people. Like, if we wanted someone to be able to come and type, German cake, German chocolate cake or carrot cake near me and find us as a baker, which wasn't going to happen within Hotplate. Hotplate also doesn't, they don't have your reviews in like structured data. So the reviews never get out into the world. So yeah, there's like a number of limiting factors there, but being able to showcase your full menu, and just having a better experience when people kind of come to see what it is that you have to offer.
Yeah.
I think is one of the biggest wins of moving away from a system like that.
Right. So like now, like for example, the wholesale partner or potential 4th one that we're talking to, she reached out and I got back to her last night and said, like, well, it'll depend what you're interested in. And, I've kind of limited time, but let's chat. And so I could tell she's gone to the website. She's like, I'm interested in the cinnamon rolls and the bagels. And I'm interested. These are all things that were not really like on my, well, I don't have a bake on Hotplate. Well, I guess there's something on there, but it's just a kind of a placeholder. But she's able to see that I have all these things, and these are the things that she wants at her bakery. So
and then with a system that is a website builder, you can build pages that are specific, right? So like you could have a wholesale page if your state allows you to do wholesales. Obviously, not a lot of states do, but Texas does now.
well, meaning like, so we have a wholesale page. We have a page that says like, are you looking for a wholesale partner? Like, reach out, we'll set up a time, we'll meet with you, we'll discuss. So I think things like that, I think have been like very, cause all these wholesale deals, we haven't like sought these out. That's a kind of important they've all like fallen in our laps.
Well, you mentioned wholesale, and it's kind of interesting. We talked about all the AI and the tech that you kind of brought into this business, how it's enabled you to do pre-orders and avoid having to go the market route. But then, I know in the last few months you picked up some wholesale accounts, as you said, and that's kind of like moving, I would assume, moving away from tech, right? You just kind of doing in-person partnerships. Well, I mean, you tell me, maybe there's a lot of tech that went into helping foster those wholesale accounts, but tell me about that growth of your business.
So first off, SB 541, which again, like it feels like it's always like
Just a blessing.
yeah, it's just been this like it's opened up so many doors for us. Like it's been because when we first started, wholesale was not possible in Texas, and now it suddenly is. And I just still thought that Farm Connection wouldn't take a home baker. Like even though it's like allowed, I kind of just thought I'm just me. Like I'm just this home baker. There's just no way they're gonna like. But that happened. And then after that, one of our customers, because we did the porch pickups, we did the delivery. I consider myself an introvert. I don't really like socialization actually kind of really drains me. So, but with my porch pickups and the delivery, I make it a point to talk to my customers and meet them. I do feel like me connecting with my customers has led to our growth because I I talk to them all and they get to know me. And so I think all these things are really important for like a cottage baker to like put yourself on Google. Like I know some people don't want to like list their address, but I think there's a way of just putting like your city, but you should definitely have your business on Google. You should encourage your customers to leave you like a review.
Yeah, for those that are listening that have maybe been afraid to get onto Google, like doing like a Google My Business, because you don't want to give up your address. When you create your location, set yourself up as a service business with a service area, and you do not have to disclose your address. If you put yourself in there, like we're in there with our address because
well, her address is already like everywhere. So just why not? So we have the address. Now you don't have to, like now you can register with DHS, but we still just, I don't know, we just have kept it that way. We're okay with that. But yeah, I think it's like the website and the Google that is, I think it has helped the wholesale.
Yeah, let's talk about that though. So we have a lot of people that buy from us directly that we're still committed to. So we've tried to stack all of our wholesale opportunities into the same delivery days. So then we're just working on those projects without having a whole bunch of overlap where it's consuming our entire week.
Yeah, and then we have the family time. So that way, so we tried right now to have it like just Monday through Wednesday. So that way, like Thursday, we're at co-op. So we're Thursday, we're like the kids.
Teaching.
I'm teaching with that, like they're with them. So we're all there at co-op. And Friday, Saturday, Sunday is kind of just like relax, maybe restock on stuff. But that's kind of how we have structured our lives. And that way with the direct sales, I still want to do them, but it's no longer the every Sunday like I used to. It's more like every other week or maybe every 3 weeks, just because it's a really hard thing for me to want to give up because these are the people that help like build us. I really love my customers. So I don't really want to give that up. Like I really, even if I had to like limit the menu, I can't maybe give that crazy, like we're always complimented on our extensive menu, but I have to just limit it. But I love the direct sales.
I noticed that you recently posted that you're doing over 200 English muffins alone in wholesale per week.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was wondering, like, do you see this wholesale kind of taking over and becoming the majority of your business? I understand you don't want to give up the direct sales, but does this seem to be the direction that it's leading you?
What I'm feeling like is right now the wholesale is even just at its current rate, it has taken over. Like it is like we have this Monday through Wednesday thing that we have to do. That is the primary source now of our income. And then the direct sales, I will still do them just less frequently. It's just like
every 2 to 3 weeks. We'll basically commit to doing like a weekend bake for our direct sales. But yeah, less frequency on that side, because your time doesn't come from it's like
you have to pull back someplace.
Yeah, you got to pull back someplace. And so in order to offer more on the wholesale side, you have to give up some of the direct sales side, at least until or unless you can scale your operation, which obviously we can't hire people under the law. We can scale our space, like if we grow into our garage, and we can do some additional work there. But ultimately, I see it being something where it came down to the consistency of the revenue. Obviously, we make less margin when we're selling to wholesale, because we have to offer a discount. I know there's a lot of people that are I see that question posted in the cottage food business group all the time. People are like, how do you handle wholesale? What do you do for your pricing? And for some reason, I always see a lot of people comment and they're like, no discount, don't discount at all. And I'm like, either you've never done wholesale, or like, I don't really understand that, because we've never encountered a partner, even like with Farm Connection, they have like mandated 30% discount because they need to make money for their location. They need to make money to pay their employees. It costs money to run a business. And so, we offer discounts to our wholesale partners to make sure that they have room to make money and to grow as well. So it's harder for us to make really good money, but it's also very consistent, and the flow of the orders, like we don't have to worry about the unpredictability. Like with direct sales, you'll have periods where like with spring break, a bunch of people go on vacation, they go out of town. And so if suddenly, we're used to $1,000 to $1,300 in sales, and then that drops to 300 because everyone's on vacation, it's like that sucks for us. But with the wholesale, they continue to order, and we get the sort of consistency from that.
I think we have like 650 customers, is like not all at once, but like, so at this particular growth, when we do a bake, it is pretty consistent. Like we know we're gonna, like, $1,000 or more is like what it's going to be in sales. But again, like when we were first starting, it was very cut. Like we maybe had like 300-400, like,
it'd be like one weekend, it'd be $250, and then $500, and then $300, and then $650, and then $300. And like I was tracking it on a spreadsheet, and we did see consistent growth, but it was always like a zigzag pattern, right? And then we would do certain events and stuff, and we would make some good money. And it seemed like we saw the growth, but we were like, this would be really hard to manage, because you don't know how to like prepare for that. You may have too much product on hand, and then you do a sale, and then it doesn't meet expectation, and now you have possible waste, or you just bought too much stuff and you fronted too much money on future goods and all that kind of stuff. So like I like the wholesale a lot. I wish that more states would allow it, because I think it creates a much more wholesome community experience when small cafes and stuff can partner with locals and not have to ship stuff in from Cisco or US Foods or these big food conglomerates. People should be able to get local products. And yeah, yeah.
I think about like the past year for you, we're seeing a lot of evolution of your business, right? Like, you kind of started out on a whim. You had this idea of starting something together, and then you launched within like 2 to 3 weeks with this concept that maybe you would do markets, and markets didn't work out. And then you kind of switched to pre-orders, and then, the pre-orders did work, but at the time that you started, like, wholesale wasn't even an option, right? Because the law hadn't changed yet. And so you never could have planned or predicted that there would be this like possibility of having a wholesale business, and then that opportunity came up and you've transitioned into it. And so, like the importance of being flexible and being adaptable, being able to pivot is like what I am getting from your story here. And so as you look forward and you look ahead, like what do you see as, the future? I know you couldn't have predicted being here today a year ago, but like if you're looking ahead, what are some of your goals?
Well, so first off, just to kind of remind, so I would say I'm not really a person that I don't like to be. I'm kind of like a creature of habit. I don't like change. But I also like in the last few years have like lived by a motto, which is get comfortable in the uncomfortable. So I think that is going to help with the growth. But yeah, so I am just adapting, like with the growth, figuring things out. But where do I see myself? I would like to stay cottage for as long as I can. Because that fits with our lifestyle. But a dream of mine would be to just be able to have like a facility, like some kind of like one of those like kind of I guess warehouse type things where I can have like more kitchens and like I love to teach, and so I would love to be able to teach other people. Like I would love to be able to hire out have like workers like just like maybe like high schoolers or something like because with the baking, because we don't do that like every day. Like I feel like it could be something where it's just like I'm helping train the youth to like these like skills, which I think are like very valuable skills, like learning how to bake and how to just like run a business, like all these kind of skills I think are very valuable. So I would love to see ourselves at some point in a bigger space. It's maybe not like really a storefront, but I guess it still would be like commercial. But it's like I would like to at some point, but for now, just we stay at cottage as long as we can. We convert the garage, maybe get another Simply Bread oven.
Yeah, the subtext here is we are looking for angel investors.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Anyone out there looking to invest in our dream, please contact us.
Yeah. But yes, the long term, the very like end goal would be well, what's kind of funny is that like so in San Diego there was this bread company called Bread and Sea. And I remember I would always say to Drew, like it'd be really cool to be the Bread and Sea of like
Boerne.
of Boerne, San Antonio kind of thing. And it now like it starts to feel like not very far fetched, but I'm still just like every single time like this wholesale like these like that email that like it's really really hard for me because I'm just like I'm just me, like I'm just me. I can't believe people are like trying to buy like and they want more English muffins. I feel like we're reaching the cap of English muffins. But
so someone on your podcast recently you were talking to them about like imposter syndrome. And we definitely feel that way sometimes as well. In both aspects of the business, honestly, with Family Kneads, with Cottage CMS. It's hard to not be self-critical when it comes to what you provide the world, and when people continue to praise you for it. It's really hard sometimes. Like certain people have like a big ego, and that fuels them, and they really thrive on that. But like for us, it's like very much like,
I'm like, just follow the steps.
Yeah, we're just doing what we're doing.
You mentioned angel investors. Do you feel like a big bottleneck for you is just the finances, like the money? Like that's what's holding you back right now?
Yeah. I mean, if I won the lottery tomorrow and, or I had some sort of, some family member that wanted to invest in growing us or whatever, I definitely think that we would figure out how to change what we're doing and lean into that growth opportunity. We, like, as we sort of said from the beginning, this is not a side hustle for us. This is our family's dream that we're chasing together, and we want to grow this into an actual business and have it sustain our family. And you can't do that running it as a hobby. Like you must be able to grow it and Sometimes the scary things are the thing, you know, like what she was saying, getting comfortable in the uncomfortable. It's like, it's very uncomfortable for us to think about growing out of our space and all
change things
just having to change things up. There's so much uncertainty there. It could be very anxiety provoking to sort of let your mind wander on all the things that would need to change. But at the same time, you can't get growth. You can't grow without making sacrifices and doing things. So it's like, you know, we want to continue to grow as much as possible in the space that we're in, within the comfort and confines of our own home. Very thankful for cottage laws to allow us to do that. But yeah, we would not be afraid of chasing growth if the financial bottleneck was not there.
I don't think it would take long to find some talent to like help, like, you know, this is how we work the dough, and just like have this, you know, I'd be able, and then I'd be able to kind of, I had heard Alina, like she had said something like, like it would be really hard for me not to like
on the podcast that you had with Alina Eisenhower, she was saying something about how she had a really hard time letting go because she's like a perfectionist by nature, and it's very difficult for her to step out of the business, and that's the same with her. I feel like she's very controlling of her processes, and she likes things to go according to plan. And you know, if I'm not washing dishes, I might get hit over the head with a frying pan. So you know, like if we moved into a space and we had additional talent, it would take a while.
Well, I mean, what are your thoughts about getting a traditional business loan? You know, you say it takes money. That's obviously an option too, right?
Being less than a year old business, we don't have, we will very shortly have tax returns, but it won't be the full year of us being in business. So we won't have that information yet. We don't have a year of financials. You know, having customers in the way that we do is good, but having committed wholesale partners will help like the whole business loan underwriting process. So yeah, I think once we hit the 1 year mark, and then kind of heading into maybe even year 2 to be able to have some tax return history showing consistent growth and proof of income there, I think will open up those doors for us.
Well, as you think back on last year, you obviously took a significant risk, kind of bet on yourself, bet on you as a team. What has this business journey meant to you?
What it's shown me is that we should have done something a long time ago. Like it shows me that when we were pouring our, like all those hours I've done with like either the event coordination stuff, or before when I used to I used to do paralegal stuff, all those like late hours, all this, I should.
Do you have regret for not making that choice sooner?
I do, just because I all of those other jobs, I feel like they would pull me away from like my family. And so just
like that like the incredible eclipse was occurring, and like it was literally happening, and she's like on a phone call, and I'm like, get off the call, you're gonna miss this. Like, you know, it's just like there are a lot of
regrets. I just like a lot of these, like there's just a lot of times I feel like that the work took away from me, and now it's like it's just different. Like for example, I told the wholesale partner for next week, one of them that does like the bagels, the farm connection. I just said like next week I'm not doing it. And so it's just kind of cool. It's like it's on my time now. Like I get to decide what I want to do. So I like kind of being more in charge and doing what's right for like it's my life, and we're gonna have it like fit our schedule.
Yeah, and from my perspective, in terms of what it's meant for me, is as a husband and father, I get to be a lot more involved and present with all the things. So, you know, I get to take them over to their co-op, and I get to go to the park with them, and, you know, enjoy lunch. And We get to do things together as a family because we've committed to all this stuff. And despite the fact that this business takes a lot of our mental energy and it does take a lot of our physical time, it's at the end of the day, it is something that we're pursuing together for the sake of our family. And so because it's not time divided and it's time taken away for something that is not ours, it doesn't cause like a lot of drama. It doesn't cause a lot of stress. Like it's not like in her previous jobs where it's like, she's sitting there talking about these things that are completely unrelated to our life. And, all these things are just,
Yeah.
that someone else is
Right.
controlling your mental space and your everything about it. I don't know. It's tough, right? Like you want to pursue things. It's like, what is like that saying, like do something you love and you'll never work a day in your life. I think that's especially true when you're pursuing something that's like your own passion and something that you're truly doing for yourself and someone's not telling you what to do.
Well, Kat and Drew, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with us. So, can you share where people can find you, where they can find your family needs stuff and Cottage CMS, and also how they could reach out to you?
Yeah. So, well, there's the website, this familyneeds.com. If you want to see the website, we're also on socials, just family needs. So FAMILY, KNEADS. So yeah, on Facebook, Instagram. I think there's a TikTok too, but I'm not active on that. And then, or not yet. And then we have Cottage CMS.
Yep. Cottage CMS, cottagecms.com. If you want a simple approach, definitely check out Cottage CMS. And yeah, that's about it.
So, well, thank you both so much for coming on and sharing with us today.
Yes. Thank you.
That wraps up another episode of the Forager Podcast. For more information about this episode, go to forager.com/podcast/165. And if you've been enjoying this podcast, I have a favor to ask you. First off, could you subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening, whether that be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube? And also, could you take a quick moment to leave me a review on Apple Podcasts or a rating on Spotify? It's truly the best way to support this show and will help others like you find this podcast. And finally, if you've been thinking about selling your own homemade food, check out my free mini course where I walk you through the steps you need to take to get a cottage food business off the ground. To get the course, go to cottagefoodcourse.com. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.